Hi everyone, you're really welcome to tonight's DIY guide on social media ads. I'm going to be your trainer for this evening, and I'm going to have a mix of presentation and then a real life look at business manager. So we're probably going to transition between the two. Tonight's session is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch that back. And I'm also going to share with you a copy of the presentation. So take notes if you want to. Absorb it all if you want to, and if you just want to sit back and relax and let it all soak in, that's also fine. There will be materials to help you after today. Okay, so today we are going to focus on a number of key areas related to social media advertising. So I'm just going to talk about the role of social media advertising within social media. So why you should have an advertising budget and basically the impact of that. And then we're just going to get into the platforms. I'll be spending quite a bit of time in Facebook Ads Manager, and I'll show you how you can set that up within a Business Manager account. Then I'll talk through the different kinds of ads that are available. Thankfully, we have a lot of choice, so you can pick and choose the format that's the best match for you. And then also, when we're running ads, there are different audiences that you can engage with. So they're summarized as custom, lookalike, and saved audiences. So I'll explain what each of those are and how you can create them for your own organization. And then we'll take that forward and develop a Facebook and Instagram ad within the Facebook Ads Manager. And part of that process is us using Pixel to track the performance of the ad, but the Pixel also has lots of other great benefits, and I'll tell you about that. Although it's not officially on the agenda, I will show you the LinkedIn advertising platform, so you know how to navigate to that. So anyone who joined in last week and was going through that LinkedIn training, hopefully you've been able to put some of that into practice, and you might be ready to take it to the next step and run in LinkedIn advertising. So I'll show you how that works without doing a massive deep dive into the platform, because I know you're really excited about Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so let's get started. A little bit about me for those that weren't on last week. You're very welcome. It's great to have you on today's webinar. I work in digital marketing exclusively. I just focus on digital channels. And I've been working in digital marketing now for 11 years this year. It's scary how quickly time goes. But a lot of people would say, well, what kind of stuff do you do, Emma? Like, what is the work that you do? It does sound quite varied. And I describe my role as a digital marketing consultant, mentor, and trainer. So this is obviously the training element today. And I do lots of similar training. I work with SMEs, with startups, with growing companies to really just give them the skills that they need to boost out their digital marketing team. I'm also delighted to say I'm a training partner to both Google and Facebook. So pre-COVID, that meant that I was able to get onto a flight and visit other gorgeous European cities and immerse myself in the culture while I was there. But for now, it's all on Zoom. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to doing again after lockdown. But I do work right across the digital marketing spectrum, looking at strategy, social media, content marketing, email marketing, including also influencer marketing. So it's helpful to see where social media fits into a digital strategy, because a lot of people get very excited about social and the opportunities it can present. But realistically, we need a strong advertising budget in order to really capitalize on those social media opportunities. As we're going through, I will be sharing this slide with you, and this is just a reminder to submit any questions that you might have. At the end, we'll do our Q&A, so feel free to submit questions at any point, and then we can just go and answer those. I'll be showing you quite a lot from the platform. You might have lots of questions as we're going through, so feel free to submit them via the chat function, and I'll answer them all for you at the end. Okay. So let's start off with the role of social media advertising. Why should we have a social media advertising budget, and how will that benefit our business? Well, when we're thinking about our social media approach, what we really want to do is to bring consumers through this funnel. And this is the race funnel, as it's referred to, excuse me, or the PRACE funnel, because obviously our first step is planning. So from a strategic point of view, it's important that you are, first of all, planning your strategy and thinking about how you're going to achieve your goals. But the first step then in terms of taking action is trying to reach people and tell them about your products and your services. So people can't take action in terms of your business if they don't know about you, if they don't know that you exist, or they don't know what you provide. So reach is really important, especially for new organizations. It's really important to get the news out there about new products and services, maybe about a new offering, or if you're moving location. And we can absolutely do this through social media advertising. So when people are aware of you, then they're more likely to act and to complete a desired step within your funnel. So acting could be visiting your website. It could be filling in a form. It could be following you on social media. It might be signing up to your email marketing strategy. And this funnel will look slightly different in terms of what each of the stages means for different businesses. So act is really important because this is where you're able to get more data on your consumers. You're able to gather information about them. You're able to learn more about them. And then through social media advertising, you can encourage that interaction. So let's just say that you wanted to grow your email marketing list. You could create a social media ad, run that across Facebook and Instagram, and encourage people to sign up for email marketing, giving them some kind of incentive to do that. So we know ourselves that whenever we go through whenever we get the message like, go sign up for email marketing, subconsciously we hesitate, like, how often are these people going to email me? Is this going to clog up my inbox? What's in it for me? And we run through that at a subconscious level. Whereas if we make it really clear for that person seeing the message, what's in it for them, like first look at products and discounts, flash sales for email members only, or a special range that they can access themselves before anyone else. There's clear value there in terms of why they should sign up. But social media advertising can help you run campaigns and show these ads to more of the kinds of people that you want, instead of just throwing it out there and hoping that you get some subscriptions from an ideal audience. Conversion is then our next step. And this is probably when people realize that they need social media ads as part of their strategy. So convert is whenever you're really just getting to that purchase stage or that strong conversion stage if it is a service that you provide. So here, obviously, the goal is to encourage your website visitors to convert, add the product to the cart, check out. If it's not a product-focused site, this step might be encouraging people to sign up for a membership, encouraging them to sign up for a course, encouraging them to make some kind of commitment. So as I mentioned, these steps will vary in terms of what they mean for different kinds of businesses. But at this point, this is where we can typically see revenue coming into the business. And this is often when people approach me and say, we're not getting enough conversions, we're not getting enough sales, we need social media ads. And that is absolutely fine. You can do that. But we need to be mindful that people need to know who you are and understand why they should interact with you before they're ready to convert. So we're going to look at all stages of that funnel today. After the conversion, you want to try and encourage repeat purchase. So the engage step is really important, that you are trying to get repeat purchases from customers if possible. And if it's not really a transaction that they would convert on again, there's still that opportunity to encourage them to become brand advocates. So things like leaving social media reviews and providing testimonials, sharing your products and services online, and recommending your business. They're really, really important steps that consumers can take. And of course, we can encourage that through advertising. So from a strategic point of view, we want to bring consumers the whole way through this funnel. Ads can help at every single stage, depending on whether you want to reach new consumers or potential consumers, if you want to convert those who have looked at your site but haven't yet purchased, or if you want to build some loyalty and re-engage or continue to engage with people who have already transacted with you. So from a strategic point of view, social media ads fit into every step of the funnel. But it's important for us to understand what that potential is in terms of that social media audience. So I wanted to just show you here a snapshot from the very start of this year. and it's looking at the social media use across the UK. So I know some of you may be targeting other audiences, so you might be looking into European countries as well. But there's a really sizable audience because 53 million people are using social media actively. And by actively, it's logging in at least once a month throughout the UK. Now, understandably, you probably couldn't deal with all 53 million people signing up for your product or service at once. There is a smaller subset within that 53 million that will be your target audience. So the goal with advertising is just to really get in front of the people that are the most relevant to your business. Now, the other exciting thing for not just social media ads, but digital marketing in general and social media in general is this rate of growth. So because of the turbulent year that's just been, there have been many challenges. But some of the advantages that have actually come from that is people have relied on social media and the number of social media users has increased as a result. So it makes sense because we weren't able to see family and friends in person. We then connected with them online. Of course, we have all of our online research and shopping and so on that has had an impact. Now, there's one other thing I just want to point out from this snapshot, and it's the percentage of social media users accessing the platforms in a mobile device. So that's 97.5%. So what we're going to do is assume that everyone, I'm just going to say everyone because that minor percentage really is so small, everyone seeing your social media ads will be on a mobile phone. So that often leads to other considerations like, does my website load quickly? Is my website accessible on a mobile device? What does that customer journey look like on a mobile phone? And these are questions you definitely need to be asking yourself and answering when you're planning a social media campaign. Okay, so in terms of the audiences that you could reach via social media, I hope you'll agree it's fairly widespread. There are quite a lot of misconceptions, I'll say, for want of a better word, that social media advertising is only to reach young people like 16 to 18-year-olds, and that's certainly not the case. Now, this is the advertising audience profile for the whole of the UK, and it's across all social media channels. And we can see that there's quite a large group there, 25 to 34-year-olds who are using social media, and that's a generational type thing. So thankfully, I still fall into that category, but not for too long. But this is really where we've grown up with social media, and it really just exploded during our younger years. So we're really au fait with that. But equally, if you wanted to reach people who were, say, 55 to 64 years of age, they are on social media. So yes, they don't account for 100% of social media users, but you can still reach lots of audiences who are outside that 25 to 34-year-old age bracket. Okay, so looking at the most popular platforms, we're talking a lot today about Facebook and Instagram. And the reason for that is if we're looking at the most used social media platforms in the UK, Facebook's number 2 and Instagram is coming in there at number 5. Now, YouTube actually is more popular now than Facebook, but on a global scale, Facebook is actually more popular than YouTube. Some people don't technically categorize YouTube as social media. They count it more as search, and I'd be inclined to do that because, you know, we're searching for quite a few things on YouTube, particularly over the last year. How to make banana bread being one of the most popular searches that we've seen. But it's important that you are using the platforms where you can reach the most amount of people. Now, on Facebook, we can run ads, obviously. Facebook Messenger is included within those placements. And then Instagram, we're going to focus on as well today. So they're in the top 5 in terms of your social media platforms. So it's good to invest in the platforms that do allow you to reach a lot of people, because remember, when you are putting money into advertising, you want to make sure that you're getting the best possible results from that. Okay, so just a little snapshot for interest, probably more than anything. This is our evolution of daily time spent using social media. Some of you might be a bit shocked at this, more so than impressed, myself included. But if we look at how it's evolved from 2015, where our usage was just shy of 2 hours, and we look now at 2020, where it's nearly 2.5 hours. For us, from a personal point of view, it's probably not a great thing. Well, it depends how we're using that time. I know I often find myself scrolling through social media, just consuming content that's interesting or engaging, and then thinking, Emma, you have a million things to do. Leave that be and come back to it. So it is, in that sense, really attractive and easy to use. But let's step into the advertiser shoes for a minute. As an advertiser, this is a really big opportunity because people are spending nearly 2.5 hours every day on social media. So that gives you lots of different opportunities to engage with them, lots of different opportunities for you to get your message in front of their eyes. So from the point of view of an advertiser, this is a positive metric. Let's focus a wee bit more on the platforms that we will be looking at today, starting with Facebook. So Facebook has got 30 million users in the UK. And again, you don't need to reach every single one of these users for your business. Now, the growth has actually just remain unchanged there. If we're looking at quarter on quarter, that's not anything to be worried about because there was like a 10% growth, if not more, throughout 2020. So a lot of people who were not using Facebook and who wanted to use it were then able to flock to the platform. And the other thing here that we can see is there's a relatively even gender breakdown. So 52% female and 47% male. So it's not the case that we would say, oh, well, only use Facebook if you want to reach females, or only use this channel if you want to reach that gender. There's a relatively even split. Instagram then, by comparison, the number of users on Instagram is not far away from that of Facebook here in the UK. So 31 million Instagram users. So it's a really, really popular platform. So hence why you should be investing in that. And the growth is still happening, I should say, rapidly for Instagram in the UK. So quarter on quarter change, there's been a 10% increase in Instagram users, and that equates to 3 million people. So that's really impressive that it's continuing to grow at such a rate. Now, there is a slight female bias here. 58% of the users in the UK are female and 41% male. So it's almost like a 60-40. So typically we would say that the Instagram content that we would create for brands is slightly more female focused, but it comes down to what that brand is and what that organization is. So again, I would be very hesitant to generalize and say Instagram's just for women, etc. There's still obviously a lot of men using it, but it's down to your target audience and who you want to get in front of. LinkedIn we focused on last week, but if you weren't in that webinar, just a bit of a snapshot, because I will talk to you about the LinkedIn advertising platform. This isn't far away from Facebook and Instagram here in the UK. There are 30 million LinkedIn users. The growth hasn't been as phenomenal as Instagram, but it's still good, 3.4% growth quarter on quarter. And here it's a little bit different to what we saw on Instagram. There is a slight male bias with 57% of the users being male and 42.9% being female. So it's good that we're able to use all of these platforms to reach people of both genders, and also we can see that age breakdown. But I know today you want to figure out how you do the advertising, where you go to, what you click, how to set up your audiences. So that's what I'm going to move into next. So remember, if you have any questions, let me know within the chat box. We'll do that Q&A at the very end. So if there's anything you want to know now or throughout, please do just ask. Okay, let's focus more so on ads. And I'm going to start off with Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram have become pay-to-play platforms. And a lot of people kind of look at me when I say, like, well, what do you mean? Like, you don't have to pay to use it. As a business, you really do need to have a social media advertising budget to get the best results from social media. I'm not going to get in my soapbox about it because now's not the time or the place, but it does really frustrate me whenever I see marketers saying social media is a brilliant free platform. Now, technically, it doesn't cost you to use it, but you're very, very limited in terms of what you can get out of social media organically. Like, I know that because I've worked with social media platforms for 10 years. I know what works in terms of content, but where we get the best results is in accounts that have strong organic content. So there's lots there for people to see. and then strong advertising campaigns to reach new potential customers, engage in a meaningful manner with current customers, and then retarget customers that have converted. So if you're going to take social media seriously in 2021, I'd really recommend thinking about what your budget will allow you to do. Just assigning a certain amount. And we are going to talk about budgets today. And I know that some of you probably itching to ask, how much should I spend on my Facebook ads? Don't ask it just yet. If I haven't answered it properly by the end, yeah, then that's fine. But I'll show you how you can work out your spend. This is a really big opportunity for brands because Facebook, and I'm saying Facebook because Facebook owns Instagram, Facebook holds a phenomenal amount of data about its users. And of course, that has been in the media in the past few years about the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the amount of data that they had, etc. From a marketing point of view, data is a really good thing. It's a really powerful thing because the more you know about the users, then the better ads that can be created. The same thing applies to brands. If you want to advertise, you should have a very clear idea about who you want to show your ads to. Now, this is just a snapshot of some of the things that Facebook knows about us as users. So it knows our location, it knows events that we've engaged with, it knows our opinion on politics, possibly our opinion on religion, our relationship status, photos that we've been tagged in. And then the next question comes, how does it know all of this? Like, I don't submit this to Facebook, I don't tell them this data. We don't specifically submit it or tell them, but every single interaction that we have, every single action that we take on Facebook or Instagram is being recorded as data. So I don't want to sound like, Big Brother, freak anyone out, but you know that already. When you use the platform, you agree to the terms and the conditions. And one of that is that your activity and your interaction can be tracked or recorded. So again, from a data point of view, that can be a really big opportunity because if Facebook is recording like content that people interact with, content that they respond to, pages that they like, posts that they comment on, it builds a really clear picture of what they're interested in. It gives an idea of the things that they're interested in. It also gives an idea of their behaviors. And then that data is accessible to advertisers to use within campaigns. So I don't mean to freak you out about data use, and that's a totally different webinar, but all of this is collected and it can be used then by us as advertisers on the platform. Okay, so one thing I would really, really recommend is before you put a lot of budget into advertising, you start off by having a very clear idea about your target audience. So quite often I work with advertisers or brands, I should say, that are going, Emma, we haven't had a sale in over 2 weeks on our website. Can you run ads and get us a sale? And I'm like, yes, I can run ads and get you a sale. We can promote your catalog. Who do you want to target? And they're like, potential customers. I'm like, okay, but what are potential customers? Like, what age are they? What gender are they? Where do they live? What are they interested in? Why would they buy from you over your competitor? So it's just worth bearing in mind that just because you're running Facebook or Instagram ads does not guarantee success. It does not guarantee that you will get sales. It does not guarantee that you will get website visits. The way you put it together is really, really important because you want to engage with that target audience in a meaningful way. Now, if you haven't got a persona developed and stuck on the wall and something that you read every day, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Just this week, I did a Google mini lab with a really large homewares company in Europe, and they were spending 2 hours specifically focusing on how they can get more data about their customers, like how they can better understand their customers. And they didn't have a persona. Like, in saying that, that's why they were doing the workshop, because they didn't have one. So it's something that I really do recommend. HubSpot, for example, has got loads of templates that you can use to create personas. And I would say download that and get working with it, because the more you know about your audience now, the easier it's going to be for you to set up your ads. Because whether you do it now or whether you do it down the line, you still have to think about that audience that you want to target. And if you've got it done, like your pre-work or your homework, then it's going to be a walk in the park when you get to the ads stage. Okay, let's talk now about some of the solutions that are available when it comes to Facebook ads. This is a debate that happens quite frequently, or shall I say, like a query or a question that comes through. And it's like, Emma, should I do boosted posts or do I have to go into that ads manager platform? And I know at the back of that person's mind, they're like, please just tell me I can do boosted posts and everything will be okay because all I have to do is click a button. But there is a difference in the two. And what I would say is if you're currently boosting your posts, you're not technically using all of the features of Facebook Ads Manager. And this is the reason why. So with the boosted post, you're quite simply just taking the post that already exists on your page and you're paying to reach people. Now, in reality, you're probably paying to reach people who have already liked your page, but those who just haven't seen your post. Now, we know that a very small percentage of your Facebook page fans actually get to see your frequent posts. If you don't know that, just Google it. It's pretty well known that only a small percentage of followers, and recent reports have indicated that it could be as low as 2%, which is really, really dire. However, the better you are at content and the more frequently you post, and if you make your posts really engaging, the higher that percentage can be. So I've worked with brands recently that have an average of 20% reach. I've worked with other brands that have actually reached 5 times their page audience through some of their really high performing posts. So it's not a limit. I don't want anyone to come away being like disheartened and saying, sure, you only reach 2% of people via Facebook. That is an average across the board. But the reality is, unless you've got really fantastic content, you're not going to be reaching all of those people who liked your page just organically. So when you boost a post, a quick win, of course, is for Facebook to show your ad to people who haven't yet seen the post but have indicated that they liked you. The other thing is that you are using the post that's already there, so you can't personalize it or you can't add any extra call to action buttons, you can't change your creative, etc. You're just taking what's there. Now, you can use some limited targeting, but when you actually go to Ads Manager itself and create an ad, it's a whole new world in terms of options. The other thing is with the boosted post, you're just taking that one ad and running it to everyone that you decide to advertise to. Whereas in Ads Manager, you can set up a campaign and have more than one ad set. So let's say, for example, you had a hair care product. Let's say you had a new shampoo and you thought, well, younger people like to use my shampoo because it makes their hair really soft and glossy. And then you might realize that people who are slightly older like to use your shampoo because it naturally helps to prevent hair loss. And it also makes it really shiny and glossy. So you know the product has got benefits, but benefits are going to differ between your audiences. You can create one campaign to promote your hair shampoo, but you can create one ad set targeting your younger audience. And then the ad there is going to say, our shampoo is really popular with young people, or you can just include a testimonial there and say, it makes your hair really shiny and glossy. Buy now. And they're like, oh, looks good. And then you can do another ad set to your older audience group. And you can build in that message about also as an extra benefit. It also helps to prevent hair loss in a really discreet way. And here's some results that we've had recently. So therefore, that one campaign to promote the shampoo is engaging with 2 different audiences, but it's all under the one campaign. Whereas with the boosted post, you can't do that. What you have there is what's going out to everyone that you choose to engage with. The other thing, just with the boosted post, you don't have as much control over the ad objective. So whenever we move into Ads Manager, we will see all of the different objectives that are available, whereas here it's really just reach, traffic, message, etc. And that's if you've built that into your post. So boosted posts do have a purpose here and there. So let's just say that you had launched a new product and you had a corporate video about that and you just wanted to shout it from the rooftops. In that case, a boosted post will be fine because you're taking that content and then just getting it out there. But if you actually wanted to have a more strategic campaign where you were showcasing new products from your website, boosted post is not really going to be the ideal solution. you're going to want to create that in Ads Manager. Sounds like I'm really against boosted posts, but there's just so much more you can do. Okay, Ads Manager then. So with Ads Manager, you can easily set up and run ad campaigns to many different audiences at the same time. So here's where you can be strategic, as I was mentioning, and you've got full control over your ad objective. You can target your audiences very, very specifically, and we'll look at that. You can create custom audiences and show your ad to them. You can develop multiple versions of your ad and tweak messaging and compare the different versions to see what works well for you. And the other thing that is worth noting, if you are running your ads from Ads Manager, your ad doesn't show up on your Facebook page. So I just mentioned that as like a little reminder, because I've shown people in the past how to run ads and they're really happy with it. But then the next day they email me freaking out going, I can't see it on my page. I don't think it went live. It's not my Facebook page. And it's not going to be in your Facebook page. Your Facebook page is not one of the placements for your Facebook ads when you use Ads Manager. Organic posting allows you to get your message on your Facebook page. So when you go in and create an ad and it does not show on your Facebook page, do not panic. You're probably still doing the right thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Facebook Ads Manager today, and I'm going to go in and show you some of the features. I just want to tell you a bit about it before I do jump into the platform. So when we're talking about using Ads Manager, it is like a dedicated platform where we can go in and set up ads. And even though it's called Facebook Ads Manager, you can still run Instagram ads from it as well. I know that's not the most obvious thing, but we'll get to see how it works when we look at placements. Within Ads Manager, that's where you control your ads. So you can set up ads, make changes, see results from your campaign. And you also can get the app. So this is what the app looks like. That's the app icon. You can download the app for your mobile phone. However, just from my own experience, the app does have a delay. So I've used the app to check campaigns the weekend, and I looked and thought, oh, that campaign's doing really badly. It should have been doing better. I'm going to need to have a look at that. And then I logged in on desktop and realized it was doing a lot better than what the app had shown me because there was a delay in the data coming through the app. Now, Facebook will probably dispute that to say there's nothing wrong with it. But from my own experience, don't rely on the app. Do log in on desktop because it's obviously like a bigger screen and you have all of that functionality. One other thing just to note, if you want to run ads on both Facebook and Instagram, you need to link your Instagram account to your Facebook page. Now, you only need to do that once. Most clients that I work with have got that done, but if it is a new business, you will need to do that. So the easiest way is to go into your Facebook page settings and then click on Instagram. So quite literally down here in your menu is where it says Instagram. And if it's not already connected, you can just click login here to get started, and it will connect your Facebook and Instagram, basically so the platforms are just connected with each other. When it comes to running ads, it will easily pull through your Instagram account as well as your Facebook, so your ads can be shown from both. Okay, so after you've done that, it's time to go into the Ads Manager and create your first campaign. So if you already create Facebook ads, you'll be aware of this. If you've never looked at it before, then this will show you how you can do that. Once we're in the Ads Manager itself, we always start off by making sure we're at the Campaigns tab. This is our step one, and then we can easily create a new campaign with our green Create button. Now, before we just jump straight into putting a campaign together, there's a few pieces of pre-work that are really, really helpful. And one of those is creating an audience. So I'm just going to jump down actually to creating an audience. I'm going to come back to this here, and we'll look at the steps there when we're looking at putting the ad together. So whenever we're running ads, we will have to choose who we target. An audience targeting is a big part of your success. So within your business manager, you actually have an audience section. I'm going to show it to you on screen, and then I'm going to jump into the platform and show it to you in real life. So within your audiences section, you can have a whole range of audiences, saved audiences, custom, lookalike, and you can use any of these in your ads. So it's a really good idea to go in and create this ahead of time. So when you're putting your ad together, you're just pulling in the relevant audience instead of at that point scratching your head thinking, oh, who should I show this to? Because that obviously will take up a lot more time. So when you're in your audience manager, over in the left-hand side, here are the different kinds of audiences that you can create. You can create a custom audience, a lookalike audience, a special ad audience, and a saved audience. Let's rule out the ones you're not going to use. Special ad audience is really only used if you are advertising, say, for example, on behalf of a political party, or if you have like special ad categories, like, I don't know, maybe government or something will be working from that. So in general, most advertisers do not use a special ad audience. You're going to then use custom, lookalike, or saved. Now, custom is the most interesting one. And custom audience is when you can develop an audience off the back of a source. So if we were to click on custom, this little light box would appear, and it's asking us to choose the custom audience source. So this is allowing us to create ads to people that maybe have already interacted with our business or with our brand in some shape or form. So one of the most common custom audiences is using data from your website. And this is where we can go in and choose your source as the website. The other things that you can choose would be if you had an app, you could then import some app activity. If you had a customer list, say for example with email addresses, you could upload that. Now, one thing I do want to say is that customer list technically should have at some stage opted in to receive social media advertising from you. So it's not just as simple technically as going in and downloading your Shopify customer list and uploading it. So disclaimer, I'll just leave it at that point instead of elaborating on what some people do. And then you have offline activity, which would be maybe data sets that were gathered, etc. And again, you would want permission for that. But the majority of people do then just work off their website. And this is where they can build a custom audience based on how people have interacted with their site. Now, if you don't have a pixel set up on your website, or if you don't have a website yet, but you do have strong social media channels, you could decide to use one of these Facebook sources. Your Instagram account is here within the list, and so is your Facebook page. And these do turn out to be really popular audiences that we create. Other things would be if people have watched a video on your page, you can retarget them off the back of that. People who filled in a lead form, you can target those. People who have interacted with any of your instant experiences, interacted with you in terms of shopping, responded to an event. So if you had like a big open day or a virtual open day and you created a Facebook event, you can create an audience off the back of that, or your Facebook listings. However, for your Facebook page and Instagram account, it will probably take in the majority of these other sources. Instagram account and Facebook page are the two that I would recommend creating. So at this point, you just choose one of these sources. You do one at a time. So if we were to take website, for example, it would pull in your source and it would be your pixel. And then you can decide if you're going to target, for example, all website visitors. And here you can do that within the past 30 days. You then give that audience a name, a description if you want, but you would call this, for example, visited website in the last month. And then you create that audience and it sits in within your audience manager. So it would sit in here amongst your list. Now, what is just worth noting is you have set it here for the last 30 days. You don't need to keep repeating that. You don't need to go back in and recreate that audience. Facebook will automatically update that audience for you. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. They will update that for you. So anyone that visited 31 days ago will move out of that audience. And anyone who visited today or yesterday will move into that audience. So it automatically updates for you. Okay, so one of the other things that we looked at was a lookalike audience. It's another option. So lookalike audience is whenever you start off with a custom audience. So that could be, for example, your website visitors. That could be people who interact with you on Facebook, people who interact with you on Instagram. And what you can say is, okay, take my actual customer or my audience list here, and then go right across your entire network and find people who are really similar, people who match my custom audience. And then Facebook go and find those similar people and bring them into a lookalike audience. So the benefit of doing this is that you know that the people Facebook are surfacing are really similar to that audience you've already created. So they are really likely to interact and behave in the same way as your original audience. And there's likely to be a better match than you just going out to a purely saved audience. So this is something I do recommend doing, and I would do it for any kind of custom audience that we create. So let's just say if we were to create a custom audience off website, another one off Instagram, and another one off Facebook, then I would create a lookalike for each one of those as well. And I'll show you how in just a wee second. Okay, the other option, the third one, is the saved audience. And this is where you just put an audience together by choosing demographic info, location, interests, and behaviors. So this is where you create an audience, and it might say females aged 20 to 55 who live anywhere in the UK who are interested in, let's just hypothetically say you had an ebook with healthy eating recipes. That just came off the top of my head, very random. You might then say, that's your audience, and I'm going to target people who are interested in cooking, healthy eating, well-being, fitness, maybe follow chefs like Delia Smith or Joe Wicks as an influencer, etc. So you can start to put together all of this behavior to create your target audience. Now, when you put together a saved audience, there's no guarantee that anyone in that audience has interacted with your brand before or that they're aware of you. So typically we would use saved audiences to reach new people. So if it was a new business, a new brand, a new product, having a saved audience is really powerful because you can get your brand in front of new people. Now, the other thing is with a new business, you probably don't have a lot of Facebook pixel data, and you probably don't have a lot of Facebook and Instagram account data to work off to build a custom audience. So for the most part, you'd be relying on your saved audience. Like, it's definitely not like your poor cousin or anything like that. But this is where, if you've your persona done, you'll really, really get to grips with your saved audience, because you'll be like, well, I have a very clear idea of who I want to target through my saved audience. Okay. So when you're putting your saved audience together, it looks a little bit like this. You just go through all of your steps and choose your location. When you're putting together, Facebook will tell you how many people fall into that audience. So just with the options I chose in there, when I did the screenshot, there was 210,000 people that fell into my audience. Notice here it says my audience is defined. It's not too broad and it's not too specific. You can't run an ad if your audience has less than 1,000 people in it. So if that was the case, you'd need to increase some of your parameters. So this is in my audience manager. So here I can see all of my audiences that I've created before, and I've seen quite a few of them there are saved audiences. Some are custom, some are lookalike. Yours will have the same layout, and this is in Business Manager. So this is business.facebook.com. That's how I got to my Business Manager. And once I was in there, I'm in the audiences section. So wherever you see your menu, typically that's on the left-hand side. If you go into the audiences section, it will take you here. So we'll just refresh this. This is where you can set up your audiences, and these audiences will be attached to your ad account. So here I'm going to create audiences, and then later on we can choose from all of these whenever I go in to create the ad itself. Okay, so starting point, create audience. This is what we saw earlier. Custom audience, we can pull in a source like Pixel, Instagram account, Facebook page. So if we wanted to choose Facebook page, we then say, okay, pull in. I have access to lots of client different Facebook pages, but I'm just going to choose mine. And then I can say, yeah, I want to target. I could do people who currently like my page, anyone who's engaged, and that's the broadest one. That's what I recommend there. Anyone who visited the page, engaged with the post or an ad, clicked on a call to action button, anyone who saved a page post. But I would like all of those. So this second option is the ideal one. And then I can just name this engaged with Facebook page in last year. I create that audience. And then once it's been created, I have a couple of different steps. I could create a lookalike audience off the back of that. I could create an ad, or I could create another custom audience. So I'm not going to do any of that just for now. Here's that custom audience that I had put together. It's still populating, so we don't know what the size is going to be just yet. But if I did want to quickly create a lookalike off the back of that, I can just tick the box, go in here, create lookalike. It's pulled in my source, and I can decide like how similar I want this lookalike to be compared to the original source. Now, 10% is often just far too broad. You're really moving away from similar characteristics. I tend to keep to 1 to 2%. Maybe go with 2% today. And then I can create that audience, and there's my lookalike audience. Now, my current or my starting audience is still populating, so it's not giving me any data about the size of that just yet. But these have now been created, and I can use them within my ads. The other one to go through is saved. So I'm just going to call this demo. Okay, so this is where I then decide to target people by location. So if I wanted to target people within a specific geographical area, I can do that. And I could maybe bring my targeting right out to within 50 miles. So this is taking in quite a lot of Northern Ireland and a fair bit of the Republic as well. But let's just say if you wanted to reach all of these people here, but you actually didn't ship to the south, you're like, look, I don't deliver to Republic of Ireland. What you could do is then exclude anyone in that location. So now what is happening is anyone who falls into the circle is getting the ad, except those who are in the Republic of Ireland. So all of these people are getting it, but it won't be shown to those in the south. So if you just wanted to target an area specifically, not another one, that's how you can do it. Also, if you just wanted to do all of the UK and Ireland, that's possible. I'm just going to go and include these people again. Okay, so now in terms of location, anyone anywhere in the UK and Ireland will see the ad. Now I'm obviously going to add more filtering down here. But one wee thing is when you're choosing location, you do have a couple of options. You can target people who are living in or who were recently in, or you could just target people specifically who live there. You could target people who were recently there, so that might mean those who are traveling. And then you could specifically target those who are traveling, and that is anyone in this area whose recent location is in that area, but their home is more than 125 miles or 200 kilometres away. Now, that's a wee bit harder when you target in the whole of the UK and Ireland, because someone could be in London, but they're originally from Dublin. And so I would use that particularly just for smaller areas. It's not really as relevant now because we know travel has decreased so much with COVID. But typically, if I wanted to target people who were residents in that area, I'd go with people living in this area. Okay, so we've chosen location. The next thing we can do is overlay age. So you can decide what age groups you want to target and also genders as well. And then it starts to get more interesting. And so we'll just go with the example of the healthy ebooks that I had earlier. We could start to target people who are interested in healthy eating. So a good starting point is just to search for that thing that you want to target by. So I just typed in healthy eating. I can target people who studied healthy eating. Realistically, they're not going to be interested in my ebook because they probably know more than me because they studied it. So I'm not going to target them. But I will target people who are interested in eating healthy. I'm going to just go again with the same search. And healthy eating and healthy recipes is a really good one. Now, when I've got more than one option chosen, we can get suggestions here. So this little suggestions button is where Facebook's going to say, well, here's other similar areas. So well-being might be something that I want to target. People who are interested in healthy habits. What else? People who are interested in natural foods. I still think I saw more around healthy eating. So I'm just going to go with that again. Healthy eating recipes, yes. Eating healthy food. Yeah, absolutely. Healthyeats.com. Yep. So as I'm making these decisions, at the very top, it's going to tell me how many people fall into this audience. Right now, it's 5.4 million, so it's pretty big. That makes sense. We're targeting the whole of the UK and Ireland. So basically, you can have your detailed targeting here. Now, if I said, actually, I want to target people who eat healthy, but who are also really interested in cooking, like I would assume that that's maybe like a given, but you might have people who like to eat healthy, but they have pre-made meals, etc. We can narrow the audience down, and we can do that here by pressing narrow audience. And then this creates another section. And what we're saying to Facebook is when we run the ad, we want to target people who meet at least one of these criteria, but they also must match at least one from this second box. So I'm going to start off with cooking. So interest in cooking. Let's see if there's anything for cooking healthy. Yeah, there is cooking healthy. So I have something there for slow cooker. Yeah, so now we're saying, okay, Facebook, when you run our ad, people must have at least one of the interests from the top category and at least one of the interests from the bottom category. Now let's see how that changes our audience. It brings it down slightly, but not radically, 4.7 million people. But this is where you can say, well, actually, I want my audience to have this and that. And you can do it again if that was relevant. At the bottom, you can decide if you wanted to include just people who currently like your page who meet this criteria, but that would be very small. And if you wanted to target people similar to those who like your page who meet this criteria, or if you wanted to exclude people who currently like your page. Now, most of the time, I don't actually choose anything from that area because I'm more focused on just letting Facebook find people who fall into the options I've chosen, whether or not they're currently a fan, doesn't really matter. To me, as long as they fall into this targeting. So at this point, I will review my audience and then I can press create saved audience. And there's my demo audience now within my audience manager. So it's a really good idea to come in here as your starting point, create all the audiences that you want to create. And then when you go to ads manager, it's a lot easier for you to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into the step where we were talking about the actual ads manager platform, because at this stage you'll be going into that with your audiences created in the background. So when you do go into your ads manager, one of the first things you have to decide is your campaign objective. And this is really Facebook just saying, well, why are you running your ad? What do you want to get from this? Now you can only choose one objective, and Facebook have helpfully broken them down into 3 columns: awareness, consideration, and conversion. So if you just wanted to reach new people and let them know about a new product or service, you might decide to do brand awareness or a reach campaign. If you actually wanted them to consider your offering or your product or service in more detail, you could run a traffic campaign, and that is focused on taking people to your site. Or you could do a lead generation campaign where they maybe sign up for something and give you their email address, or a messages campaign where they then click to message you directly. And then if you have got your product catalog on Facebook and Instagram, you can run conversion ads and catalog sales. Now, if you're not selling products, you can't run these two, because this is where they do actually take in products like your Facebook catalog products. So let's just say you had a service and you wanted people to sign up for that service. Traffic would probably be your best objective in order to get people to your sign up page on your website. Store traffic is where physical store locations are put into the back end of Facebook, for want of a better expression. And then the ads are encouraging people to actually visit your store. That's not really relevant now in our current times. A lot of stores are closed. But it's really just if you had a large organization with lots of different locations that you would be using the store traffic objective. Okay, so you'll choose one of these going forward. Now remember the funnel that we need to bear in mind when we're thinking about why we're running the ad. We've got awareness, consideration, and conversion. So awareness here, remember, is trying to reach people who don't yet know you exist. And then you want to get them to move down through that funnel. So if you are running Facebook ads, it might be a good idea to start off with a few brand awareness or reach campaigns, just to really let people know who you are and what you do. And then follow that up with a traffic campaign where you're encouraging them to just go directly to your site. However, in real life, people are typically a bit impatient, me included. So I am very tempted just to run with traffic campaigns straight from the off. And we're actually trialing a catalog campaign to a cold audience. Because this particular business is really focused on generating some sales. So we're going to see how that goes over the next few days. But really, you want to bring them through this funnel. You want to take them down so they have the awareness, they're considering you, and then they are ready to convert. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, you can run multiple ad sets within the one campaign. You can also run as many campaigns at once as you wish. So with your Facebook ad account, you could have campaign 1. So this could be your reopening campaign, telling people we're going to reopen our doors on this date. If you want to sign up to be one of the first to make an appointment or to be one of our first clients, click here. So it could be a traffic campaign. But you might be saying, I wonder if people in Belfast City Centre are going to react better than those who are in Greater Belfast. So ad set 1 is where you set your targeting. This could be all of your Belfast City Centre targeting. And then ad set 2 could be Greater Belfast targeting. Now, you don't have to. You could, of course, just create one audience that combines it all. But I'm just letting you know the options there if you need it. And then within each ad set, you can create more than one ad. So you might think, well, we have a really cool video we did recently. Let's run that as an ad. But we also have some good images. So I'm going to do a carousel. And then also we have got customer testimonials. Let's do a campaign with that. So this is the structure that you can work from. So you also need to have a think about that. And before you go into your ads manager account. Now, it would probably take a half day or a full day to go through and build all of this out. So I'm not going to do that today. I'll just show you how to create campaign, ad set, and then ad. Now, one thing that's really helpful to have installed in the back end is your Facebook pixel. So your Facebook pixel is a little bit of tracking code that you can create within your Facebook Business Manager, and then you apply that to your website. So the pixel is needed for your custom audience, where we saw that you were targeting, I'm just going to jump down to this, where you were targeting website visitors. You need the pixel. That's how they get the data here. So it's really, really useful to have. The other reason for having your pixel is you get a lot of insights about how people then interacted with your site. So the pixel will record how people viewed your ad and then went through to the site. So it will tell you if people viewed pages on your site, if they added items to the cart, if they filled in contact forms, and if they then converted and made a purchase. So it's a little bit like your Google Analytics, but it's giving you this data within Facebook. So it's something that I personally really recommend having set up. Now there is, that's jumping about. There's a lot of help you can get to set it up if you haven't done so already. You have lots of articles here within Facebook for Business on how to create and install a Facebook pixel. But I'm just going to show you that within the account. So if you've not done it yet, this is how you can set it up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my business home. And I'm in my Digital by Emma account here. And if I go into business settings, that's normally a really good protocol. This is really good to start off with. From here, I can see everything within my account. And I can find my pixel under data sources. So here under data sources, you'll see it says pixels. And I can see the pixels within my account. Now, if I wanted to go in and look at this within Events Manager, I can do so. So here I get to see information about my pixel. And from this here one, I can see that, so this is my demo pixel I've got set up here. And what I need to do is, so I've already set this up to show you how it works, but you would, once you come in here, if there's nothing here, you can go through and create, and this button would say create pixel. Okay, so you obviously just name it to start with. And then the whole process of getting your pixel set up, you can select a connection method, either a conversions API, and this would work directly with your server, or you can go through and use your pixel to collect data from your site. And that's what we're going to do here. And then we've got two options about how you can install the pixel code on your website. So one is manually install the code. So if we were to do this, this is giving us pixel code that we can copy, and then we paste that into the website. Now, personally, I'm not a developer. I don't exactly know how to do that on the site itself. Now, it is relatively easy. We can paste it in beside the head tag. But this is where I'd probably just drop the email to the web developer and go, hi, can you install this code within the head tag and screenshot this page as well as copying the code? And that way I am not editing my HTML or my code and messing things up. So that can be one way to do it. Now, there is another way. So we could use a partner integration. So here's where we can go in and decide which partner is going to be applicable. So let's say if it is a WordPress site, we can choose WordPress as a partner. If it is a Shopify site, if you're selling online through your WordPress, you might want to go with WooCommerce. If it's Squarespace or Wix, you can find the connection for that. So mine is on WordPress. And what it's going to do is actually just give me a plugin that I will upload into my website. And that's how I'm getting the code onto my site. So it's showing me here, click on plugins, add new, choose Facebook for WordPress. So this is the one I would be looking for. And then I would install that, and then I will activate it. So it's actually getting me to install that plugin on my site itself. And then I'm going to connect it to my Facebook account here. So you can do it manually, or you can do it via that setup, whatever is the most useful for you. But then once it is set up in here, you're going to get a lot of great data. You're going to get loads of really fantastic info. So I just want to show you what it will look like whenever you have got it set up. Okay, so here is the pixel tracking visitors to the website. Underneath this, it's telling me about page views, how many of those have happened on the site, how many content views there have been, how many adds to cart. Now we can see here, I think there's a slight issue with the code on the add to cart one, and it tells me if there is an issue, so we can look at that and fix it. We can see how many people have initiated checkout, contacted, purchased, submitted application, etc. And this is just tracking 24/7. So if there's something that doesn't look right or something that needs fixed or addressed, it will let us know. We can then go and see, is that an issue? Is there something wrong? Do we need to update it? But this is tracking interaction over time. And I noticed there on the 8th of April, there was a big, massive jump in interaction. And that's because this particular business was on TV. So they featured on UTV, and that obviously generated a lot of interest. So therefore, there were quite a lot of website visits then. And also they posted about it on social media and included a website link. So that's why there was so much traffic over that particular time frame. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is move into Ads Manager, and I'm then going to navigate through and show you how you can set up an ad. Okay, so we're in Ads Manager. We can see any previous campaigns that have been running and any which are currently live. That's the demo one, so I'm going to turn that off. And once we're in here, we've got the ability to create a new campaign. Okay, so I'm going to go with create, and that's our starting point. And then this is where we choose one of the objectives that I'd mentioned before. And for this here, I don't actually sell products. I don't have a catalog here with Digital by Emma. There's lots of client accounts that do, but with this one, I'm just going to take you through under my account. I'm going to show you how you can set up a traffic campaign to get visits to your website, because that's probably one that most people will benefit from. Okay, so traffic campaign, I've chosen that. Then we can name our campaign. So we would give it a name and we would go, I'm going to say demo campaign April 2021. And then I also apply that name to the ad set and to the ad itself. So here's the 3 layers: campaign, ad set, and ad. All we have to do here is press continue. Notice that the 3 steps are also replicated here on the left-hand side. And the one that's highlighted in blue is where we're currently at. So we're at campaign level. I'm not choosing any special ad category, so I can leave that blank. I've chosen traffic as my objective. I'm not going to run an A/B test within this, but let's just say if you had 2 versions of the ad and you want to see what worked better, you could A/B test them. And if you had more than one ad set, you can turn on campaign budget optimization. And that means whatever ad set's doing better over time, Facebook will give the greatest percentage of the budget to that. So it automatically optimizes for you. But for this campaign, I'm just going to go through and set up one campaign, one ad set level, and one ad level. Okay, so that's all we have to do at campaign level. At ad set level, then we decide where we want the traffic to go to. Do we want it to go to a website, an app, Messenger, or WhatsApp? So in this instance, I want it to go to the website. Do we want to create a dynamic creative? You might want to experiment with this if you so choose. So dynamic creative is where you upload a number of images and a number of headlines, and then Facebook will mix and match those and tell you what combination of imagery and headlines works best. If you have an offer like 20% off or buy one, get one free for a certain time frame, you can include the offer in your ad. So let's just say if I wanted to include an offer for my page, I can go here and create the offer as part of setting up the ad. So anything that will make your ad stand out or give customers more incentives to engage with the ad, all the better. I don't have an offer, so I'm not going to create one for this. But if you did, you can set it up. And then the next part is choosing your budget and your schedule. So you have an option here. You can set a daily budget or you can set a lifetime budget. Now, by default, lifetime budget always jumps there to 350. That's not actually an indication of how much you do need to spend on the ad. So if you were to start off with a daily budget of, say, even £5 per day, that should give you enough to work with to see if the campaign is working or not. And this is a point where people say, how much should I spend? What I would do before I get too locked or too concerned about budget would be go in and pull through my audience. So the next step here is choosing your audience. Now, notice you can actually create an audience at this point, but that's going to take up quite a bit of time and it's kind of distract me from the flow of creating the ad. So the ideal thing to do is either search your custom audiences that already exist and bring them in, or pull in your saved audience. So my saved audience, here's my demo audience of our healthy eaters. I'm going to bring them into the mix here, and I can see all of the options that I chosen earlier. And then now when I go back up to set my budget and my start date and my end date, it's actually working off this relevant audience. So if I set it at £5 per day, I can decide to run my ads from tomorrow at 8 a.m. And then I might decide to run that until the end of the month. So I might go run it for 2 whole weeks until the 30th at maybe 11 p.m. Okay, so I've got £5. I'm running it for 2 weeks. Over here, it's giving me my estimated daily results. Like if I change the amount that I spend, this little box is going to change. So if I decide to go with £10 per day, now my reach is increased. And every day I can reach anywhere between 1,600 and 4,700 people. And there's an estimated 43 to 132 link clicks. So when it comes down to it, the more budget that you can put in, the better results you're going to get. So if I was to put in like £100 a day, that shoots up to 15 to 43,000 people, 200 to 800 link clicks. So this is the estimated daily results. There's a bit of variance there because it hasn't seen our ad yet. So if we did a really good ad, the reach would be high. If our ad wasn't so great, the reach would be low. Okay, so as I have said there earlier, a £5 a day is like a good starting point. Most businesses could forego that if you think about it. Don't get your takeaway coffee or your snacks in the shop. Maybe, hold back on a couple of other things and put your budget into this. Like if you wanted to, you could go with a lifetime budget as another option. So if you wanted to go with your lifetime budget, you might say, well, I'm going to go with maybe like £50 over that time frame. And then this will update accordingly. And that means you're not going to spend more than your £50 budget. I'm a big fan of putting your start date and your end date so it controls the campaign and you don't forget about it and then get a bill at the end of the month. So as long as you control it in terms of your start and end date, then it should be fine. Okay, so we've done budget, we've done audience. Placements is our next choice. So here it says automatic placements recommended, but if you wanted to, you can go in and manually adjust. So by default, it's going to show your ad on Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network, and Messenger. Now, not all ads will show up in every single location. So for a traffic ad, it doesn't show on IGTV, it doesn't show in messages, and it doesn't show on in-stream videos. But you can go through these placements and say what you're happy with or what you want to remove. Typically, if I'm promoting like really high quality goods or goods of high value, I then take off Facebook Marketplace because Marketplace is more so where people go for like a local bargain or a local service. So if I'm selling designer handbags, it's probably not going to be relevant in Marketplace. However, if I'm selling like costume jewelry, that probably is going to be relevant on Marketplace if it has the right fit. Other things then, stories, we can decide if this will show on Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger stories. Stories are really great platforms, so I would encourage that. What else have we got? Apps and sites, I'm a little bit more dubious about, and typically I do remove these from my campaigns. Apps and sites is where Facebook has bought advertising space in third-party apps and sites, so we've got no control over what these apps and sites are. So you could do a wee bit of damage limitation by unticking that box. However, if you really just wanted to focus on maximum reach, you might want to keep them in. For me, it doesn't really change the potential reach of the audience. Now, it still says at 4.7 million. So I'm not really too concerned about whether it's in or out, but just for a bit of extra brand protection, I'm going to take it out. Okay, so optimization and delivery. We're optimizing for link clicks. Remember, it was a traffic campaign, so I want clicks to the site. I don't yet have an idea of what it will cost per click, so I'm not going to add a cost control. I want to run the campaign and then see what it turns out to be. And that's everything at the ad set level. So we're ready to go on to the next step, which is actually creating the ad itself. Okay, so ad name has come through here. Facebook page, it's pulled through. Instagram account, I have my connected. I'm going to turn ad preview on. It's telling me that there's a link field required. We haven't even got around to building the ad, and already it's bringing up errors, typical Facebook. But as we start to move through here, we can decide what format we want the ad to be. So it could be a single image or a video, where you just have that one image or video. Carousel, I'm a big fan of because you can add one or more scrollable images or videos. So you can have up to 10 images in the one ad, or you can have a collection. Now, with a collection, you will need an instant experience in the background, and a collection also works with product-based ads. I don't have an instant experience here. It's kind of like a mobile experience, so I'm less likely to go with that. I'm more drawn to doing a carousel, and that's what I would recommend for anyone that's doing a traffic campaign, because you're giving people lots of reasons to click through. Okay, so with carousel, we can then move down and design all our carousel ads. So here it's telling us carousel cards. Card number 1, we need to select an image for. So this is where you can either pull in an image from your account. So any images that are already within your account, you can work with. So let's just say I wanted to go with this one. Okay, so this is going to be my image one. I can then add my headline, description, and website URL. Now, earlier on, I was using the example of a healthy eating ebook. So I'll create the ad to complement that, but I'm really just showing you the functionality more than anything. Where possible, it's a really good idea to have your own images and video because that obviously represents your brand. But if you're just starting off or you've not really invested in your photography and videography, what you can do is get some really high quality and low cost stock images. And I really like Unsplash for that. So I'm just going to search for healthy eating here on Unsplash. That one looks quite nice. This also looks good. That's nice and colourful. Okay, so these are all photographs that have been submitted by photographers around the world. So you can use them in your content. You can give them a shout out and reference them, which is just a nice thing to do. And typically it's a good idea to tag them in your organic posts so people can see where you got the picture. But just to point out, it's not like a necessary requirement. So if you don't do it, like you're not going to get fined for it or anything like that. Okay, so I've got some there that I've downloaded that I'm just going to work with in the ad itself. So for this, if you didn't have any in your account that you wanted to work with, you can easily upload a photograph from your device. So if I go in here, I can then choose one of these images that I've just sourced. And I'm going to start off with this one. It will upload it into my account and then I can use it within my ad. Okay, so this is image one. And then I add a headline. So I'm going to go make healthy eating easier. And then it could be download this new ebook. Okay, then we would put in the URLs where we want to take the person to. Like, I wouldn't take them just to the home page. I would take them to whatever that actual page is. Now, just to clarify, I haven't written an ebook on healthy eating. I'm just giving you this as an example, but you would include the correct URL that people could then click on to get to that resource. Okay, so this is what you would type in, you know, whatever that page URL is. Now, over here, it's freaking out about carousel links. So I'm just going to see what the problem is. There we go. It had HTTP instead of HTTPS. So basically here we start to see the ad taking shape and my headline has come in over here and then my description has come in down below. Now this is only card one. What I'm going to do is create another card underneath. So you can have up to 10 cards. So card number 2, I'll go in and select my image for that. So let's choose another colorful picture. Go with this one. Okay, so this picture I purposely had chosen because it's taller than the square format. So what we can do is go in and edit that image if you wanted to change the focus. So here's the original, and then this is what the square looks like. But let's just say the focus of that image was really at the bottom. You can move that square anywhere across the image to get the right focus. But for me, that is right in the middle, which is fine. Now remember, not all placements are going to be square. We're going to run this across stories. So you can make sure you have the right focus there for the vertical placements. And then it's also going to come up in the likes of the news feed. So you want to make sure you've got the right placement there for the horizontal images. So I might decide to just bring in more peppers in that or whatever. So that one image can be edited for the different placements. And then for this second card, I'm going to also add a headline. You could do 20 quick recipes and then great for lunches and dinner. Okay, and then again, the relevant link, so / ebook, etc., etc. And then I'm going to do a third card just to give you an idea how that works. But as I said, you can do up to 10. So that's really good for you to showcase all of the different elements about your product or service. And I would include in there as many attention grabbing images as possible. So like lots of different views of the product, possibly building one of the cards as a testimonial in Canva too, if you wanted to. Now for this one here for square, I actually want to focus more on that smoothie. And so I'm going to bring it across, and the same for vertical. No, that might be nice. And then this would be starters, mains, and snacks. Make a healthy change today. Okay, so let's just take a wee look at what we have so far. What we can do is preview our ad to date. So I'm going to just go in here and share a link. And this is really helpful if you also want to show the ad to like your colleagues or friends or family and just get their opinion before you've gone live with the ad. So I've just copied that link where I can preview the ad. Last night this didn't work. Earlier today it did. So who knows? It's going to half work. This is what it would look like within the news feed, video feed, right-hand column. We'll just go in and choose the different ratio there. Inbox, within stories. Okay, we're just going to edit the format for this. So you get an idea of what the ad looks like in real life on those placements. So if you wanted to go back and like change some of your text, etc., you absolutely can. Like I'm just going to come back out of this and go into the ad itself again. Okay, so one of these messenger stories. Okay, so the format in terms of like the carousel isn't available in messenger stories. Your ad won't run on Instagram because carousel ads in this placement must include 2 to 3. Oh, okay, so that is 1-to-1. So for your stories, it's looking for 2 to 3 full screen cards. Now let me just check what way this is working. Vertical. I'm just going to move our zoom buttons out of the way. I'm just going to go in and look at the Instagram stories placement itself because it was flagging up. There was a slight issue there. So what we can do is choose this as a placement. Now it is taking its time in terms of bringing it up. But if we go in and look at this particular placement, we should be able to change our crop. So it's showing up here just with the Instagram stories that there is an issue. But what we should be able to do is actually just select the vertical version for Instagram stories. So see the way our one with the peppers was actually vertical, but we were able to crop it for the likes of the carousel. That's normally the case, but it's not playing ball here at the minute. And it's not that it's a policy issue. Let me just see if it's going to go with that. is thinking about it. This is a point where you might run into some issues in terms of having the right media in the right place. But the one thing you can do is go in and edit each placement. I'll probably go in and make sure that all three are accessible. I'll go in with this one. Yeah. That might have been the issue. Now we're in business, okay? So for Instagram stories here, it was telling me that the media wasn't supported, even though with each of the images we chosen a vertical image, but in the background, it looked like the second image hadn't chosen the vertical format for stories, it had chosen the horizontal. Why? I don't know. Sometimes Facebook does these crazy things, but by going in and looking at the placement itself, we can then see if there is an issue and then fix that. So now there's no longer an error against the Instagram stories. Also because with the stories, it's full screen, we were able to choose, that focus area for the full screen. So it is really colourful and vibrant there. So errors do occur. That's normally where people sort of panic a wee bit and think I've done something wrong. There, what we could see is that Instagram itself chose a horizontal image for a vertical format. Why? We don't know, but it did. Now, some of the placements just won't be compatible. So here for Facebook groups feed, creative customizations by placement are not compatible. And also for Messenger, we can't use a carousel within Messenger stories, but it's still going to run on Instagram stories and it's still going to run on Facebook stories. So I'm not overly worried about that. We still have got those placements available. Now let's see for InStream. InStream's video. So if it's not a video format, it's not going to run InStream because InStream is where a video would stop playing and then your ad would play, and that has to be a video for it to play. Okay, so at that point, if you need to edit a placement, you absolutely can do. Another setting that we have up here is automatically show the best performing cards first. So if there's no real important structure in terms of like you want them to view card 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, you can mix and match. And that will mean that over time, Facebook and Instagram will show the highest performing card. So that's getting people's attention at the very, very beginning. Now, what you'll probably notice is that we don't actually have any text in this ad just yet. So primary text is missing, and this is a really important element. So when you've got your carousel together, you need to add text at the very top to tell people what your ad is about. So here I'm going to go download this free ebook with over 20 healthy recipes. Okay, so in reality here, the less text, the better, because as you see from this preview on mobile, you really only have the first 2 lines that come up. On the likes of, let's see if there's desktop. I'm still looking at that. Hold on a second. Okay, there's our desktop newsfeed, and we definitely get a bit more text visible there. So we can actually see all 3 lines in this, which is great. But remember what we were saying earlier about mobile users. Actually, with the mobile preview now, we can see 3 lines here. But anything beyond that is probably going to include a see more. So remember, your first couple of lines are the most important because that's what's visible. So include the most information, or the most important information there. And other things you can do to really get people's attention would be the likes of adding emojis. So emojis are colourful. They do stand out. So I typically use Emojipedia. So if I wanted to do like knife and fork, I can go in and get the emoji for that and copy it across, and then just quite simply paste that here into my primary text. And that's going to bring in the little emoji within my ad just to make it a wee bit more interesting or colourful. Things like stars and sparkles and ticks, etc., also work quite well. But you want to have it so it doesn't look like it's emoji central. Probably 2 emojis in your ad would be max. And then the other thing you can do now is add bold and italic text. So text is one of the tools that I use. It's a wee bit out there still. But what you can do is take your actual copy and make it either in bold or in italic. And you can do this for ads, but also for your own Facebook posts as well. So if I were to go with this one, bold sans, I can copy that. And here we are back here. I can actually pop that into my ad, and it's all going to come up with bold text, which will obviously make it stand out more so than the likes of your competitors' ads. Now, you don't have to do all of your ad with bold text. I think it looks quite nice there. I might have done free ebook in bold, and I might have done other ebits in italic. So you can experiment with that just to make it stand out, as I said, and get people's attention. The very last URL should also take people through to the page that you want to take them to. So that would be like a traffic, and that would be like your ebook page. So remember, this is where your traffic is going to go to. And then if you're just not sure what that page is, you can preview it. And you can also control the call to action button. So this one is currently set at learn more. And what you could do is press get access, because I talked about it being an ebook ad. So that's another relevant button. You can see how that looks on your ad. Okay, so there it says get access now instead of learn more. If you were selling a product, you would obviously include like shop now. If you're getting people to sign up to like a new membership or a new portal, you could have it as get as subscribe. What else might be relevant? Book now, contact us. Download would also be another one that's relevant for mine. Get offer, listen now. So there's loads to choose from. I don't think you'll be stuck when you're choosing your call to action button, and you can test out a few and see what works. But every one of your cards will have the same call to action button. You can't mix and match across the cards. Okay, so this is what the ad will look like. We would proof it again here by just going and generating the link. So we can share the link. Just going to do that once more. Okay, so for Facebook newsfeed, I see what it looks like. I'm going to have to go in and edit one of the placements there for the Instagram feed, because again, it's sort of got a wee messed up in the background there, but it should be working. Facebook video feed, right hand column. Probably going to have to go in and edit there for the Explore feed. It's just giving me a few errors tonight, which is lovely. Stories, it's working okay. In-stream video, we can see what it would look like. Within marketplace search, that's what it would look like. Instant article placement. So you can really go through and proof with each of these placements. I'm just going to go in and fix Explore and Instagram feed before I would put that live. But if you're happy with what you see at that point, you'll want to make sure that within your account, your pixel is live. Now, I haven't got the live one there because I've only got the demo one. But at this point, you would be making sure your pixel was ticked, and then what you can do is go to publish. So once you press publish, I'm just going to go ahead and publish it to show you. It publishes, it says 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3, because it's publishing campaign, ad set, and then your ad itself. So it'll take just a minute or two to do that. Don't navigate away from that page while that is happening. And then it's saying that campaign, ad set, and ad were then published. So we can come out of this and then go back into the campaigns tab. And then what we should be able to see is this demo campaign is scheduled. I'm just going to get rid of that one. Okay, so our demo campaign is scheduled here. And that means that on the date and time that we chosen, which was tomorrow morning, then that campaign will go live and you're going to start to see results here for that campaign within your Facebook Business Manager. I'm going to leave that there if you have any specific questions about any of the steps, but I am going to delete it after the session so that you don't get these random ads from my page about a healthy eating book. So I'm going to leave it in there for now. But if you needed to go back and make changes, you can just tick the box, press your pen icon, and you can go down through all of the steps again that we've gone through and then make changes anywhere that you want to do that. So if you decided, actually, I think we can make our ad copy a little bit more catchy, you can come in and update it here. So you can update that, or you can change images within your cards, etc., if you wanted to improve it. And then if you do make a change, so let's just take this by way of an example. So if you make changes, the publish button then becomes green, and you'll need to publish any of those changes that you have made for that to go live. So we're just going to let that load up, and then I can press publish. And then because I've only changed the ad and not the entire campaign, ad set, and ad, it's publishing 1 of 1. And then when that's ready, those changes should go live. Okay, so that's how you can go in and create your ad from start to finish. I've screenshotted quite a few steps of that for you here within the slides that I'm going to share with you after tonight's workshop. So quite a lot of that is included, and there's also a guide here, and it's by way of a video that shows you all the different kinds of ads that you could run. Now, I'll just show it to you on screen because it's really, really helpful. Here we go. So this is a Facebook ads guide. It talks you through image ads, video ads, carousel ads, and then collection ads. Now, we didn't see these today because these are more so related to where you've got products. But if you wanted to learn more about a particular format, you can just click through. And this is where it will tell you when to use them, how to use them. And then also you should have a specification. I think it should be at the top here. So if I wanted to learn about carousel, it's then going to show me what that might look like in the Facebook feed, what that might look like within Instagram stories. So you can see what that placement will look like within these different placements itself. And then you have got like design recommendations, text recommendations, and technical requirements. So this is really like your ad hub. And if you're doing your ads for the first time or you just want to get more familiar, it's a really great resource. So I'll include this link within the materials that I send across. But if you're getting started, it's a really great way to just visualize what that format will look like. Okay, so that's everything I want to share about your Facebook and Instagram ads. But I mentioned today that I just want to show you how you can advertise on LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, I'm just here on my LinkedIn profile. So I can just access my feed, I can access my own LinkedIn page, my corporate page, etc. But what you'll notice is on the top right-hand corner is where we can go through to the Facebook advertise section. And this is going to take us to LinkedIn Campaign Manager. Now, I've got 2 advertising accounts on LinkedIn. I'm just going to go into my Digital by Emma one to give you a demo here. And it does look relatively different from what we saw in Facebook, but a lot of the same elements are within the account. Okay, so what I can do is start off by creating a campaign. So whereas create was top left for Facebook, it's now top right for LinkedIn. And all of my menu is on the left-hand side. So it's saying campaign group, default campaign group, that's fine. And then just quite similarly to Facebook, it's getting me to choose an objective for my ad. So is it awareness, consideration, or conversion? So website visits would be the equivalent to the traffic ad that we looked at on Facebook. So let's just say hypothetically you wanted to do that. And then we get to choose the audience. Now, the good thing about the LinkedIn audience is also you can target people by their job role. So as I come down here, I can choose where I want to target. So if I decided I actually just wanted to target, can I do Northern Ireland on its own? Yeah. Let's go with that. And profile set to English. Then if I want to narrow my audience further, I can target my audiences based on their attributes, like the company that they work for, things like their job experience. So job experience includes job functions. So I can target them by kind of like their industry that they're in. Instead of job functions, I could go with job titles. So let's just say I wanted to target marketing managers. Go with marketing. I can then start to just tick all of the relevant job titles. So I might go with sales marketing manager, vice president marketing. Also over here, we're getting suggested titles. So vice president corporate marketing sounds a wee bit American though. And vice president global marketing, etc. And then as we're doing that, quite similarly to Facebook, on the right-hand side, we can see the target audience size. It's also given us a breakdown in terms of their function. Now, notice here with LinkedIn, we can run it for 1 day, 7 days, or 30 days. And the costs are considerably more than the likes of Facebook or Instagram advertising. So it's saying here that your 7 day spend should be anywhere between £52 to £170. So LinkedIn ads would typically be more expensive. However, the beauty is you can just make sure your ads are shown to the decision makers, the people who have the authority to decide on whether or not they would choose your product or service. Then when you're happy with your audience, you can go down and choose your format. So quite similar to what we did on Facebook, and there also is a carousel format that you can work with here on LinkedIn. So carousel is available. Also, you have got a video ad, a text ad, a message ad. And you can go with the audience network. This is a wee bit similar to Facebook again, where you can run ads on partner apps and websites. So this is outside of the LinkedIn platform itself. And then it comes down to budget and schedule. So you've already got your guide budget over there. You can set your daily budget, or you can set a lifetime budget, your start date and your end date. And bidding here is for maximum delivery, so get the most results possible, or you could set a target cost. This is probably going to be new to you, so target cost is probably a wee bit too advanced at this stage. And then if you had conversion tracking on your site, if you added a tag, you could also track how many conversions were completed. And this is quite similar to the Facebook pixel, but I'm not going to go down that road this evening, because if you're doing this here, you're going to get some results. The conversion tracking is like a nice add-on. So from that point, you can just go through to next. Oh, it's telling me actually my campaign lifetime budget needs to be at least £248 if I'm running it for a month. So it's not going to let me run the ad if I don't put in enough budget. So that really does go to show that it is more expensive. So let's go with 250. I think it wanted to, yeah, 48. Okay, and then here is our third step where we can put the ad together. So we can create a new ad, give it a name, add the text, include the URL. And then for the cards, quite similarly to Facebook, add your image, add your headline, add your destination. Card 2, add your image, add your headline, add your destination. And then obviously you can review what that will look like. And then the fourth step is review and launch. And you can review what the campaign will look like. And then when you're happy, you can press live. And so it's really quite similar to the steps that are included, but it looks very different in terms of the platform. But when you've mastered putting your ads together in the Facebook Ads Manager, then walking through the steps in something like LinkedIn is going to be relatively similar. The only thing I will say of note is that your budget does tend to be, or need to be, a lot higher within your LinkedIn ads platform compared to Facebook or Instagram. Okay, so hopefully you've picked up a couple of things that will help you with your Facebook and Instagram ads, and maybe giving you a flavour of what it's like to advertise on LinkedIn. So at this point, I am going to dedicate the stage 10 minutes to questions. Hopefully that's enough to answer the questions that you guys have. So Esther, if you want to hit me up with the questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for that. It was very, very good. So the first question is, in campaign objectives, what is the difference between brand awareness and reach? My company offers a service and we don't have a website yet, so we want to generate inquiries via Messenger on our Facebook page.
Okay, so this is a commonly asked question. They are very similar, but if you were to say you've got a £50 budget and you were advertising to an audience of, let's go with 4,000 people, if you chose reach, basically Facebook would try to take your £50 budget and advertise to as many of those 4,000 people as possible. So the whole focus would be on reaching as many of them as possible. With the brand awareness objective, it would take your £50 budget and it would try to advertise to people more than just one time. So it would try and reach out to people who are more likely to be interested in your ad, in your product or service. And the goal wouldn't be just in trying to reach everyone in that audience at least once. So there's a slight difference in terms of delivery. So with your brand awareness ad, your £50 might be spent reaching 2,000 people out of that audience and showing them the ad twice. So that's a slight difference in the background. But both of them are geared up to try and just get your product or service in front of new eyeballs without any complicated like links or products or anything else there. It's just getting that message out into people's news feeds and stories, etc.
Perfect. The next question is, what is an instant experience?
So an instant experience is really helpful for any brands that don't have a good mobile site. You can build an instant experience within Creator Studio, and you can also do it there as part of your ad. But basically, it's where you can create a vertical experience that goes beyond your Facebook post. You can bring in images and videos. You can add text. You can include links out to your website. So it's like creating a mini website within Facebook. Now, it was developed whenever a lot of sites weren't really mobile friendly, so they were probably quite slow or didn't have a good user experience on mobile. As we've really tuned into the importance of having a good mobile site, the need for instant experience has dwindled somewhat. But we do still see it in operation. Like a lot of retail brands would have been using it pre-COVID to tell people about new products or services and maybe showing them a video, including the customer testimonials. So I would say if you have some time, experiment with it and try it out. That's where it kind of came from. It's used here and there. I don't really see it too often on Facebook or Instagram at the minute. But that's really the concept behind it.
The next question is, do photographs have a better impact than videos or vice versa?
Videos have a better impact, but more people are using photos because they're easier to use. So video is really good from a content point of view because video auto plays. So you can start to captivate your audience straight away. I would say if you had the choice, I would go with video. And if you don't have good video assets, then just go with really attention grabbing imagery. Video would be priority one, but I know that a lot of brands are still trying to build up a strong video bank or database that they can pull from.
Brilliant. The next question is there a guide you could recommend about what works when advertising art?
A specific guide? Not one that I have come across directly, to be honest. But one thing that I would point out to you, and I want to share it as a follow-up resource, is Facebook Blueprint. And this is a hub where you can learn more about Facebook, the platform itself, and also its products and services, including the ads. Also, you can go through and complete your Facebook certification if you so wish. But there's loads of different video guides and courses. So, for example, we've got Facebook ads and your business goals, Facebook advertising tools, what you need to know, 5 steps to create a Facebook ad from your page. So there's loads of resources in here that you can work from. I haven't come across a guide that I would recommend in terms of selling art via ads, so I can't recommend that specifically. But for anyone that wanted to know more just about Facebook or Instagram in general, or any of the tools, this is a really, really great resource. I use it all the time. I've done my first certification and I'm working towards a second, and there's also a third in the pipeline, just to make sure that we keep our finger on the pulse and stay ahead of recent changes.
Brilliant. So the last question is, can you have a mixture of videos and pictures on the carousel?
Can you have a mixture? Oh, I've just drawn a blank. Good question. Let's just double check. You have to forgive me for this because it is 8:20 at night. If we go in here to the placement, let's add a fourth placement just to see. I think you can. I'm pretty sure that you can do. Just going to go with that by way of an example. I do believe that you can. It's not like show me any errors here. So typically, like if I'm creating a campaign, I would go with all images or all videos, but here it's allowing both side by side. And I don't see why not. So if I go in here to change, yeah, you can go with either image or video. So yeah, looks like it.
Good. So that is all of our questions, and I guess that's the end of our session. So thank you so much, Emma. That was really, really informative, and I'm sure all of us have learned a lot tonight, and there's also some really good feedback there in the chat. But yeah, we will be sending out Emma's presentation via email, and if anyone that missed part of this presentation will also be online from probably Friday. So yeah, thank you so much, and it's been really interesting.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to deliver the webinar. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If you have any questions going forward, feel free to reach out to me via social media or also via my email, and so you can feel free to include that when you send out the materials. But best of luck, everyone, with your social media campaigns from here on in. And if you want to send me the link to some of those, I'd be more than happy to look at them for you. And yeah, just I hope you enjoy it and have fun putting it into practice. Thank you.